Let's start.
And our YouTube channel, we are streaming this program live. And so tonight we want you to share the live video so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also follow what's happening tonight on the program. Well, this program is designed basically to talk about Liberia, those three issues. We got all sides. It's not a one-sided program. Our panelists have their views, void of politics, and they ensure that the views are not sanctioned. We ensure that on this program. The one thing is that we should be civil and not using invectives. No, we don't tolerate that on this program. So tonight, it promises to be very interesting. As always, I know my panelists are coming in gradually. So let me just acquaint you of what is coming up tonight on the nighttime heat. I'm sure you're quite aware that His Excellency President Joseph Human Boyka held his fourth cabinet meeting. Since this 2026, the fourth cabinet meeting, he held that today. And a couple of things he said, in the cabinet meeting. We'll talk about some tonight. ARED, the institution responsible to retrieve, stolen assets belonging to government. Today indicted 7 former government officials over what it calls 1.8 million meant for some ordinary business people. And of course, the 7 individuals included the former Minister of Commerce. She's part of the individuals inducted. We're going to talk about that today. We'll have the ARED video, the press conference that was held today by the ARED. We're going to play that video and talk about exactly what ARED is intending to do. Police academy, police training academy, we understand, rejected a list of senior personnel of the DEA who were sent there for training. I don't know against what backdrop those senior DEA officials were rejected by the police training academy. We're going to talk about that as well tonight. Yeke Koluba's expulsion letter has hit the floor of the plenary of the House of Representatives. We got the video. We couldn't play that, very dramatic. That also part of the lineup tonight. The CMC of Musa Hassan Berry today suffered a major crack after its chief, that's the chief scribe, the Secretary General, today resigned. He said, well, I can no longer be part of the CMC of Hassan Berry. Can you imagine? It's a major crack, The Secretary General, the chief scribe, the man who keeps all the major records, the man resigned today. Going to talk about that. What does that mean for the CMC? CBL, that's the Central Bank of Liberia, has justified why there should be printing of new bank notes. We got a video of the CBL official trying to explain why we should have new bank notes on the market. So we're going to play that video, and also my panelists will be looking at that as well. Bapolu County Senator Amara Corner, he advances some suggestions to addressing the rising prices. We'll talk about his read up on the social media. We'll look at that tonight as well. Liberia's Torba Nyeswa, today we heard the news, has, received a very big job, serving at the African Center for Disease Control. You know that Tubal Nyeswa specialty there. The guy was he came to prominence. We have is it Ebola or COVID, right? I assume we had a COVID around. Yes, he did extremely well. So, he's good to response, and in fact, he occupied the National Public Health Institute. And of course, during the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, he did extremely well in fighting the disease at the time. I can remember sometimes on the radio early morning or at night, I will call Tobo out, and then of course, you're gonna explain. Some will have the number of individuals who just passed, and of course, we've brought them to do burial. Tobo was involved in this. He was in the thick of the crisis at the time in our country. Now he's gotten a very big job serving at the African Disease Control. We're going to talk about the man Tobo Nyeswa tonight as well. Well, those are the lineup for tonight, and of course, I know you're going to form part of the discussion. As we discuss, we're also going to open the lines for you so that you have your take on the program, and we'll all discuss Mama Liberia. Like I said, the purpose for this program basically is just about to discuss, Liberia. It's our common denominator. People often say, this is the country that all of us, Liberians cannot be deported from. We all have stake to this country. And so when the issues are popping up, it is our responsibility to talk about those issues and we'll find a common ground, an amicable solution in making our country better. So let me welcome the man, David Benedictus Erasmus Tagbe, who's he's always, on time. And David, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sabo, and good evening. Damn, my voice is.
Take your bottle of water, Tagbe.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone listening to us and watching us live. I'd like to say good evening to our colleagues, who are joining us this evening on the show. I'd like to also say good hi to our technical team.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Let me hear from you, Edwin. You just walked in. Welcome to the program. Thank you, sir. Let me open your microphone.
Thank you, Sabo, and I want to say good evening to our listening public, to my friend and brother Moses Sandy in the U.S., to Mr. Tagwe. We're glad to be here tonight. Sorry for missing out on last night due to busy schedule, but we'll always find a way to make sure that we can come and serve our people information that it's necessary for them.
Yes, indeed. And so let me ask you, Tagwe, you can get the ball rolling quickly. What's been popping on your mind before Clement says tonight?
Well, I noticed that commercial drivers have started folding up their sleeves to fight passengers who do not want to pay excess. Most of the time when commercial drivers hear that petroleum products have and the prices of petroleum products have increased, they increase their own prices, even if government comes up with transport fares, official transport fares. The taxi drivers will always, or commercial drivers, including KK, will argue with the drivers that it's not the government buying my fuel or my gas. So, I witnessed an incident today at the, how do you call it, the Propo Buster. You call that Propo Buster? No, where the KKs are parking right here, Newport and Kiri Street intersection. There was almost a fight there. A passenger and KK rider who said from the intersection of UN Drive and Newport Street, from UN Drive and Newport Street to Newport Street and Carey Street, said that because the president did not pay $30,
Okay.
so I mean,
Yeah, just hold the line, Moses. Hold the line.
so he demanded the balance $10. Person said, "Look, from Newport Street to UN Drive intersection to Newport and Carey Street, $20. So that's the $20 a half. So people had to intervene. So I mean, the transfer authorities always need to enforce pride and their the official fares, transfer fares. If they don't, the commercial drivers they always use the opportunity when as soon as they hear that
To exploit our people.
petroleum products, the cost of petroleum products have increased. They always want to use that to exploit people.
Okay.
And that's absolutely unfair.
All right. I think that's a salient concern you have. Let's hear from you, Edwin.
Yes, I monitor the commerce minister, and I heard that she ordered the closure of, I think is it Minga gas, some LNG company, and her concern was the overpricing that they're carrying on in the market. Basically, again, yes, these are laudable ventures, but I think if we have standards in place, I don't think this will be happening. Now we just, you just coming up with this whole thing about the guys who are selling the LNG gas because they know that with all of these conflict in the Middle East, with this whole thing about scarcity of these commodities, they will try to hold it and then try to escalate the price. So government needs to put a foot down to make sure that nobody holds any product as the conflict is now winding down. The other thing again that's on my mind is who controls these pharmacies. So, and I think it's a wake up call for the government to now start having maybe regular inspectors going around to make sure that the quality of drugs that are being sold to our people are drugs that are actually good for consumption, and also the pricing. Most of our people, we live uh, the kind of lifestyle we live. All of our food we eat are all oily food. So most of our people are coming down with sickness like cholesterol, pressure, and so forth. But when you go and ask for a pressure pills in the hospital, in these pharmacies, it will tell you that 90% of our people cannot afford it. Take this script for maybe $35, $40 US. And in other countries, it's very cheap. So so our government needs to start looking at these things because they're very important, essential tools for the survival of our people.
Okay. All right. I agree with you. I think you are also a very important concern. We get to see it. Okay. Let's hear from you, Moses. Welcome to the program. Oh, Moses is off the line. We're hoping that he can call back. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat. We just started the program. Let me try to get Moses back online. Moses, again, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sabah, Edwin, Mr. Tagwe, and our technical crew. I want to say it's a pleasure to be back with you guys today. Today is another interesting show, and I just want to announce that I came in a real upbeat mood.
Boy, you got to announce out of what again.
Yeah, I say I feel upbeat because I told you guys a couple of days the Yeke Koluba expulsion was going to be the top of the agenda.
Okay, please don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun. Yeah, don't jump the gun. We'll talk about that. But welcome to the program, Moses.
Yeah, quickly, let me just say this. I was listening to you guys talking about the gasoline situation. Look, it is true. Everyone is ready being hit with what is happening in the Gulf. I just came from filling my vehicle, Usually I fill my tank before the crisis. I was spending $40 to fill my tank. So I drove into the gas station a few minutes ago to fill my tank. It cost me almost $60
Wow.
just to fill the tank.
Yeah.
So I do understand what you guys are
Yeah,
doing.
there's a huge jump, 40 to 60 now. Okay, so Moses, welcome to the program. Let's try to get into our main discussions. Listeners, viewers, kindly share the show. We want you to share the live video so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also follow what's happening tonight on the program. This program is very, very important to you. We got all views. It's not a one-sided program. And on this program, we allow people to speak their mind. The only thing we got against is the usage of invective. We want you to be civil. You can speak your mind, and we all can move ahead. The thing is about how we can discuss to making Liberia better. So speak your mind. Don't use invectives. And of course, I know the national leadership will listen and whatever policies that it needs to either adopt or it needs to adjust or it needs to work on. The government will do so. We have a listening government. So, gentlemen, let's try to talk here quickly. I want to got the video concerning the president's cabinet today. Let's try to play just a buzz of that, and then we can read some of the things that the president spoke about. Yes. You are listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prime FM 105.5. We're trying to get a video up. Let's try to. The phone. Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, we just start to play just brief recordings of the president's fourth cabinet meeting today. Some of the things he said, but we'll have some written. The president, in fact, he started by commending his cabinet, some members of the cabinet, for the hard work. The president spoke about the government response to global economic shocks. He talked about some of the actions that the government has taken, including strategic stockpiling of petroleum products, early importation of essential commodities, fiscal interventions to stabilizing the pricing. Okay, he talked about all of that, and then the president came to the aspect of the tourism policy. He put that on hold today in a significant policy shift. President Boycott ordered a temporary pause on newly introduced tourism-related fees and regulations proposed by the government, while acknowledging the need to generate revenue and regulate the sector. He expressed concern about the potential burden on citizens and investors, especially given that Liberia's tourism industry is still in its early developmental stage. Okay, the president took that action today. The president also spoke about the post-war urban explosion, a growing crisis, highlighting Liberia's post-conflict transformation. President Boyka pointed to rapid urbanization as one of the country's most pressing challenges. The president went forward in at his cabinet meeting today. He also talked about the zoning violations and unplanned construction. The president spoke also about the social services under pressure. He says social services are under pressure. With population growth comes a rising demand for essential services. He spoke about more schools, expanded health facilities, improved sanitation systems. The president also spoke about a call for discipline, accountability, and reform. The president urged Liberians to adopt a culture of lawfulness and a civic responsibility. The president spoke about that as well. And then he talked about reform and ministerial performance this time around, and a message to the diaspora youth. The president spoke about that. And then his final word. Now, gentlemen, I wanted to start with the decision taken by the president today, putting a halt to the new measures, the new taxes, in fact, that the tourism authority was bringing on the people of Liberia. The president, like you said, like I read, he said, while acknowledging the need to generate revenue and regulate the sector, he expressed concern about the potential burden on citizens and investors. Now, Dave, what does that mean to you?
Well, what it means is poor coordination. Had the tourism authority coordinated that particular decision with other agencies, major stakeholders, I don't think the president would have overturned, the decision the agency took.
Mm-hmm.
And that means before you come with such a policy or such a decision to the public, you must have done your homework well. You must have contacted all the stakeholders, even the president will have an idea of what you're planning would be, because I think the tourism authority is one of the newest agencies of government.
Mm-hmm.
And your first decision you've taken has somehow become unpopular with the public, and going to the extent that the president has to take a decision by suspending it. That means that the authorities or the administration of the tourism authority, they didn't do its homework well, did not coordinate properly,
Mm-hmm.
just took a decision that they thought was the good one or best one to raise revenue. Now the president has heard about it. Why didn't the president hear about it before, it came public? Why didn't other major stakeholders? I guess they didn't even consult other major.
But are you suggesting that the president didn't know?
Had the president known, then he wouldn't have taken the decision that he took. Had he known what they were coming up with, what new fees they were coming up with as tourism authority. Had the president known, I don't think the president would have taken such a hard decision by suspending or putting a pause on it, because the president office must have not been in the know of the fees, because I don't think, because if they are consulted stakeholders, they are consulted maybe the president's office, or they would have been advised that if fees are exorbitant or reasonable or unreasonable.
So you say that the tourism authority didn't coordinate
coordinate the decision well. That's what it has backfired.
Okay, in your own word, it backfired. Let's hear from you, Edwin.
Yeah, so in governance, there's something called they have administrative agencies that has sometimes some of them have quasi-legislative power, meaning that they can make laws, and also some of them have quasi-judicial power. Take for example the central bank, the LTA, they can make rules and so forth. But when it comes to setting fines and fees and taxes or so, it's strictly in the purview of the national legislature. I think what the president did was showing exemplary leadership, in the sense that after the outcry, after these fees were posted all over the place and people started going back and forth, he decided to say, look, let's hold on to this until we can review it properly and pass it through the right channels. So I don't want to see it like, the people at the tourism authority did not do their research, or they did not know what they're doing. I know they have competent people, they understand what they were doing, but they may have.
But why do you think it was backfired?
No, that's not what you call backfire, because.
So you don't agree with that one on that?
No. Basically, what happened, like I said, you have processes that leads to setting up these fees. Now, if you want to impose taxes or so, like I say, it's a legislative process. The Constitution gave that right to the legislature. So what they should have done was communicate this with the president, interim.
But Dawataba said they didn't properly coordinate it. Isn't that the same thing?
No. I'm coming. Coordinate this with the proper leadership or the president to onward submit it to the legislature. If this did not happen, it still did not mean that, it was not properly coordinated, or they just went out there trying to do their own thing. They consulted, they spoke with people who understand.
So then why do you think the president will put a halt to it?
Well, I believe that at this point in time, the president doesn't believe that this is the right time to, bring this thing forward, because like he said in his opening statement, we're faced with global challenges, where you have the issue of escalations in fuel prices, the shock on the economy. Most of these hotels and entertainment spots are struggling to survive. So at this point in time, if you want to keep them, in business, this is not time to start imposing taxes and things on them. So in the president's wisdom, let's hold it and see until we can, pass this whole Middle East nightmare. Once we get back to normalcy, we pass through the right channel.
Okay, let me hold you there. Josh, let me hear from Moses. But Moses, I don't know what Moses. Moses, we are talking about the president's decision today to put a halt to the new fees that were or taxes. He put a halt to it. They should stop it until proper.
They should hold it.
Yeah, but they should. That's the same thing. He put a halt to it. That they should discontinue. It's a halt until the fourth, the proper, until discussions can be held. Because, like in the president's wisdom, why he not acknowledges that the government has to raise revenue equally, so the government will have to also think about the citizens' position. What's your takeaway from that, Moses?
Well, this is what I would like to say. The optics, the political optics, the leadership optics is not good. And this is why I would like to take side with Mr. Tagbe on. Like Mr. Tagbe and my brother Edwin said, in government there's coordination. So it is embarrassing that a group of people will get together to impose fees on the people of Liberia without reference to the executive mansion. You don't have to go to the office of the president. You have what board of directors, and these people have a link with the office of the president. Some of these basic things need to be run by people who are at the highest level, like the advisor on economic affairs and all of these people who meet with the president on a consistent basis. They sit and review, oh, this is what these people have decided to do. You know, Mr. President, what's your thought? Advise the president on that. But it is so shameful, it's so embarrassing that a group of people went publicly. There was no prior notice to the public that, hey, this is what they intend to do. We just woke up one morning and we saw numbers all over the place. It raises the question as to who is in charge when it comes to leadership in Liberia. Who is making the decisions? So I agree with Mr. Tagbe. I also agree with Mr. Family. You know, that these things need to be done properly. Every time these people embarrass the president, it doesn't show leadership. Let me
Okay.
stop there, sir.
All right. Let me hold you there. Josh, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay. So sorry. Let me
I'm
put
sorry
my
for
phone on.
coming
Yeah.
late few minutes. We said it last night here that this was abrupt and it wasn't a good update. And definitely the president took decision today. It means that the president has been listening to what people have been saying, the Liberian people. But one thing I'd like to make clear, some of these entities, when doing their creation by the legislature, were given some quasi legislative powers to set fees. All right? To set fees. Sometimes the legislature should not go beyond this. All right? You can set fees, but it should not go beyond this. So I have not seen the new Tourism Act, right? To know as well that power was given to them to create that fees, to set fees, the fees, right? So I'm not going to condemn them altogether because I don't have the legal instrument. I'm not laying on it as to what the legal instrument actually gives them the power to do so. Another thing is, I don't think it will be wrong so badly that what I saw, probably I think the Minister of Finance signature on it, on that whole fee something. So I think it was discussed, but probably the president suspended it because of the current economics on it.
Or the public background.
Yes, the economic condition
Okay.
right now, the global economic something. It may not have been signed right now. I don't think even if the Minister of Finance signed it, he just signed it. I think that thing, that long time saying it was created, probably that is something, but they delayed to
The
something. And
enforcement time,
they didn't do publicity. This and that. I mean, mostly, as we all agree, that the publicity aspect that most people got problem with, even the fire service people, the publicity aspect is what people got problem with. Liberian people, look, let me tell you, in spite of the fact that we don't have money, when the Liberian people see that taxes working on roads, on other infrastructure that they can benefit from, they won't mind paying. But just simply educate them, tell them why it will be used for, tell them what this for. I mean, you can do jingles, you can do it for a few months, not even days, few months. Let them be aware that this is going to happen. We start rolling all day. This I'll be looking at, going to raise money. This is what we'll be doing. We intend. Sometimes you show the whole fire service complex. You see, we don't have fire service headquarters. Look at us. And, so when we raise this money, we'll be able to use on, the guy, the modern place that will be able to save across the country to get to get branches and soft stations across the country. This and now the people are being encouraged to take people serious. But if you just come with the price, the fees and that, it tend to create.
Now, so do you
some-
agree or you differ with Tabwa that maybe there was absolutely no coordination?
If there were no coordination, in my opinion, probably the president himself as a person wasn't aware. But sometimes people could be aware. They say, okay, since the law says it should be so, that's why I say I'm not seeing the law. If there are no coordination, the Minister of Finance was not going to sign that particular those fees. I think I saw his signature on it.
The argument.
And
1 minute.
David, I'm not trying to
Dismiss what he said.
dismiss what David said,
Mhm.
but I'm just trying to further provide some information. I say, if I order, Mr. Tagba, if I order or no coordination, you wouldn't have seen, the chief economist signature on that fee. So it means that the tourism and the Ministry of Finance work on it and this and that. While I reached actually to the president himself or what, but me, I really feel that the president actually put pause to this thing because of the current
economic reality.
Now, so gentlemen, moving forward, yes, the president put a pause to that, like you said, because of the current, but also when these fees were announced by the tourism authority, you heard people, the crowd, you heard people, expressing some grips concerning that, complaining that the prices were high and it was not time for that and all of that. Now, gentlemen, moving forward, what should happen? Because for a government entity or a government institution to come out with a policy decision, and at the end of the day, there's a pushback from the president, gentlemen, moving forward, what should be happening? So as to, because in the, to the layman, his understanding is that, but it seems that the people are not serious in government. There's no coordination. The poor are not serious. That will be the thinking of the ordinary man.
Sure.
That, well, let's hear from you on that.
For example, what Family and Kennedy alluded to,
Yeah.
regarding the crisis in the Middle East, that is even creating more economic challenges for many countries around the world, including high prices for petroleum products, and people in the tourism industry should have been the one to do the kind of reasoning that Kennedy and Family are doing now. That look, because of global economy, you talk about tourism, you talk about hotels. At this time, they're facing a lot of challenges in that area because the hospitality industry also affected by the crisis in the Middle East. So at the same time, the timing of the decision is wrong. So they who are the tourism authority should have known, they should have been the one to reason the way the president reasoned and Kennedy and other guys are reasoning, though they are not working with authorities. They should have known. I don't want to use it, they should know better because it will sound like I try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But I think they should have been far-sighted enough to have made that determination or not to make it, because the president who is not in the tourism, Kennedy and others who are not in the tourism, they're reasoning that the current global economic crisis, as a result of the crisis in the Middle East, it doesn't make it feasible timely now to have increased such price. Because I saw they say hotels 2,000 or something like that.
Yes, a lot of exorbitant prices now. But let me hold you there and ask Moses on this one. Moses, do you think, because we're trying to see moving forward, what should be happening, especially when a government institution comes out with a decision or a policy decision, and at the end of the day, there's a pushback from the executive or maybe from the president or other areas? What should be happening what should happen, in fact, in the future, so that this sort of embarrassment they are not seeing? We don't hear about them, and at the end of the day, people don't think that the government people are not serious. Let's hear from you, Moses.
Well, look, the guys have already said it. I think what we need in government is more coordination, more teamwork, and keeping people in the loop. And this is where I would like to differ with Mr. Farmer and my brother, Mr. Kennedy, on the action by the president to say, hey, let's put a horse. I will not assume that action was taken because of the current economic situation. My assumption would be that the president acted because this came as a surprise to him. And as a leader, saying about how will these people take this kind of action without even reference to me? And given the current situation in the country, So the president just didn't act because of the economic situation. What happened was that nobody kept him in the loop. He just woke up, he heard about it. He won't come publicly and say, oh, well, I'm upset. But say right now, this is not the time to do this.
Okay.
And we're talking about major policy issue. We're not talking about somebody going to buy a bottle of water. This is something that's going to impact the lives of people.
Okay, let's read Moses. Edwin, do you think what we heard today? The tourism authority. I think the guy who's heading the authority is
That's a lady.
It's a lady. Okay. Do you think it was just a show or an act of overzealousness? Because to have come up with this sort of huge taxes and charges, and at the end of the day, the executive is not in the know. You think overzealousness?
I don't believe that the executive is not in the know or was not in the know. Now, you listen to Brecken and they say, because I actually saw those fees on the internet, but I actually did not go through to see who signed it or not. But the president does not work in isolations, as my brother Moses is trying to, place it.
Okay.
Yes, the president has an economic management team. If any of these things come out, once it gets to the attention of the president, he calls the name. How did you guys arrive at this? And definitely he's brief. All right. So, in fact, before key decisions are made that has to do with anything that impact the businesses or so, the president is in the know. You think how come LRA came up to say we're going from 12% GST to 13?
It made this one as 20.
Of course, these are policy decisions.
So it means
They're not made
it
in
means that
isolations.
if
Now, what happened is that, like we read, look, if you listen to the president's conversation today,
1 minute, Moses.
when the president started his cabinet meeting, most of the president's concentration was on the economic reality and economic crisis in the country, quote unquote, tied into what's happening in the Middle East. David Tarek said it clearly. If you have a tourism sector that has been crippled because few jet prices have gone up, nobody wants to travel. Again, because if you're going to buy a ticket from Brussels to Liberia, you pay almost $4,000. Who wants to come here? Is a negative effect on the hotels. So the president is thinking that if these people are having this shock and they're still managing to run these hotels and they have employees, they have to pay them. At this point in time, you cannot be putting additional taxes or costs on them. So let's hold on to this thing until we review it properly and see how best we can move forward.
Okay, let me hold you. Moses, you can come in before I come to a judge.
Yeah, look, I just want to say that, look, Edwin just conceded to what I said.
I did that.
This came as a shocker to the
You didn't?
president.
No.
You say you didn't concede.
Let me complete. Yeah, no, I mean, inadvertently, the man conceded. This came, let me just complete my thoughts. This came as a shocker to the president. Like he said, look, the world is faced with economic challenges. And if these guys are telling me that the president knew, or people in his inner cycle were aware of this, do you think the president would have come to say, oh, right now, let's put a pause? This is a major policy issue. So this came as a shocker, and the president was a little bit concerned that, hey, we needed to discuss this.
Next video.
That discussion wasn't done. if there are people who are part of the present economic team, it's likely that those people may not have briefed the president. That's what Mr. Tagba talked about, the lack of coordination. It's like you run an entity as a CEO, and people announce something without reference to you. Of course, you're going to reverse that.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely George.
And of course, you could be aware, but probably it started at the time where the announcement was not made and crisis came in. And unfortunately, the announcement is made during the crisis time, and you say, no, we shouldn't do this during this crisis time. Look, I'm not really condemning what they did, but I feel that it was not timely. And you understand? I think that's why the president said it wasn't timely.
Okay.
I don't think that what Mr. Sunday said, we combined the both years. The president was aware, but on time because of the time, he said no, we shouldn't go on. The other one is the president wasn't aware, and up to, almost the same. But what we want to say here is, on that particular issue is, first thing first, we shouldn't miss something in taxation. Taxation is one of the critical economic tools that economists use either to strangulate the economy or expand the economy. The fees, we need to look at it. I think it's a bit high. Most of the time when people starting new businesses, you should come with lower costs so they can establish and sit well. When the business booming, then you start stepping the fees up. But this thing was too abrupt.
Okay, all right. Let's go. Let's go there and go straight again. Go into the president's cabinet today, gentlemen. The president spoke about social services being under, and I'm trying to look for that quickly. He spoke about the issue of social services being under pressure. Okay, with population growth comes rising demand for essential services. The president stressed that increased urban density inevitably requires more schools, expanded healthcare facilities, improved sanitation, enhanced electricity and water supply. Labra currently faces a doctor to patient ratio of approximately 1 doctor to 50,000 patients, limited access to. Gentlemen, the government has a whole lot of challenges on its plate. And Dave, this is coming from the president himself, talking about those challenges. Yes, he said there are efforts underway, or there are efforts being carried out to address those challenges. Yet they still, he still named them as major challenges. Now, Dave, do you think from what we are seeing with the president admitting those challenges and with the issue of the economy, global crisis, Dave, are we going to achieve in trying to address these challenges? A whole number of them. We need additional schools. Look at what the president just said. 15 patients, because 1 to 15,000 other patients to one doctor, Dave.
The president is being very realistic with the existing situation that the government faces. The challenges you talk about the social services being under pressure. That is to say, the urban area is overpopulated.
Mhm.
Everybody's in Monrovia. And these social services are under pressure because they're not reaching almost the entire population. So so what can the government do to decongest the capital city, or to decongest the urban areas? Is to extend similar opportunities that people are pursuing in the capital or in the urban areas, to extend them to the rural areas. Uh, I mean, infrastructure wise, we talk about better schools, better roads, better hospitals, and training more doctors or nurses. So, if the same comfort for which many people want to live in Monrovia can also be extended to other parts of the country, but that requires resources. That also requires proper planning by the government, far-sightedness of the government. So if everybody is pursuing, if you want a passport, you have to come to Monrovia. If you want to come to good hospital, you have to come to JFK. You got to leave all the way, maybe Barclay or Maryland, come all the way to Monrovia. So if similar services are improved in those areas, I mean, people, I understand what I've heard is that even some nurses sometimes refuse to be assigned in a rural area
because there's no attraction
so
here.
there's no attraction there. They prefer staying in Monrovia or in the urban areas. I understand even some police officers also sometimes don't want to be assigned in the interior. That is a while. If you go to the southeastern region, they see whole town with one police officer or two police officers, because they don't feel comfortable.
So, do you see visible effort by this current administration to address more of those concerns?
The fact that the president has mentioned that, it means that it's a matter of concern to him. And if somebody considers something as a matter of concern, that means that person is contemplating finding, the appropriate solution or remedy. So if the president wearing or the government wearing thinking about or concerned, I don't think the president would have mentioned.
Okay, let me hold you there. Now, Edwin, some of what the president spoke about are perennial problem. Let's take, for instance, 15,000 patients.
Listen to Dr. Richard Rich, yeah.
One doctor.
Mhm.
It's something that we heard about before.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's not just under this administration.
Yes, of course.
Also, the issue of limited access to education.
Mhm.
If you went to rural Liberia, I mean, you can find, in fact, some of the students may be sitting on bare floors.
Yeah.
No.
Of
So
course.
these are all
No school.
these are all perennial problems. Now, the question is, yes, the president has admitted that they are doing something, but those problems still exist. They still persist. Do you see us achieving in solving some, if not all, before this administration can leave power? Do you see us achieving maybe about 75%?
Yes, I see that. And let me go back further. The president's comments to actually bring these facts out, I think should sink down the mind of the Liberian people that we have to take this country leadership very seriously. Because like you rightly said, these are perennial problems.
Mhm.
These are problems that were inherited by Madam Soleil. She passed it on to President Weah. Now President Barker inherited it. He's going to pass it on to whoever will come in. And you and I know, we've been around this country. We've seen the challenges our country is faced with. So it tells Liberian people that the next time you go to cast your ballot, you should know exactly who you're voting for. Because those challenges not going to be solved by somebody who will get it and go to party every day, or somebody who doesn't care.
But again, then let me ask you. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
You said that yes, you admitted to what I said, that they are perennial problems.
Of course, they are.
They existed early, and the former president early. Just
course
same
they
time, we had time. You couldn't find doctors, many doctors to attend to patients.
Yeah.
That's the same problem. But we've changed leadership now, and we still have the same problem.
And
So is it a leadership problem, or what kind of problem
I
is
would
it?
give you the reason why, because all of our government have not set an agenda that even if you leave office today, when the next person comes, they follow that agenda to achieve it. President Soleil started with the issue of sending doctors out for
advanced training.
Yes, and also encouraging Liberians who are medical doctors in other parts of the world to come and help. When the next government came in, little or nothing was done about it. Every time we change government and we come with our own policy, pro agenda, arrest agenda, we missed the mark because there's no continuity. Look, you can only complete something if you come and build a foundation. I'm supposed to come and take that foundation to maybe Lithium level. The next person should come and roof that building. The next person should come and put the tile. Then you have a proper.
That is when you have a national plan.
Which
we don't have.
So now, our leaders should start thinking about how do we develop a national plan. Take for example, the current Mount Coffee power plant that supplies the entire Monrovia with electricity was built. It has 35,000 customers in 1968, commissioned in 1970. Today, Mount Coffee carries over 300,000 plus customers. For God's sake, on a 66 megawatt that was built in the 60s, we just improved it to 88.
The capacity is still small.
The capacity is
for the number of people
nowhere near it. So it means that even during the rainy season, LEC has to either do load shedding or bring power from Ivory Coast.
Okay,
so then we go to the issues of the schools. You said it. You've been around here. As soon as you pass the Po River, you see poverty in your face. Kids are sitting on the floor. Now we have to start running to donuts. But I what I see this government is doing, and you can prove me right or wrong. I know that there was almost about 100 schools to be built to, I think, the World Bank.
Yeah, the finance minister announced that.
Yes, that process is ongoing. There is also the issue of the government pushing to expand electricity access and also trying to seek donor assistance to be able to build a new hydropower plant, to be able to bring new thermal plant. Even as we speak now, I think the government delegation should be on their way to the US to the spring meeting to go and start, finding ways to lobby. We have the compact coming up. So I see something happening. But like we said, there should be a national plan.
Let me hold you there and get to Moses before I come to you, George. It's what we're talking. It's our problem, a leadership problem. Or what kind of problem it is? Because some of what the president just spoke about, they are perennial problems. They are challenges that former president said he spoke about, trying to increase education, number of health facilities, doctors to patient ratio, 50,000 patients, one doctor. It's just the same. Moses, do you see us as a country being serious to develop this country? Because every leader that comes in will still reset these things and say, look, these are the problems we have. These are the problems we have. No access to no sufficient access to electricity, to water supply, and all of that. Let's hear from you, Moses.
Yes. So first, let me provide clarification. I don't know who wrote that press release from the office of the president. I will be speaking to you as a social worker.
Is there a press release?
When we speak about social services, we're not talking about the supply of electricity. We are not talking about the running of schools. We are not talking about the running of hospitals. The literal definition of social services, it means state-funded services for the poor, the destitute. So for example, here in the United States, if you cannot afford to pay for housing, the government will put you in public housing. You cannot afford to feed your kids, the government will give your family what we call food stamps, where you will be able to go and purchase food. If you do not have enough income to take care of you and your family, the government give you a little bit of money to do that.
Let's come back to Liberia.
So in the case of Liberia, what I want to say, we do not have no room for social services. All the destitute people there are left to fend for themselves. Let me give you a graphic example. Take a look at the current budget for the National Food Assistance Agency. I was looking at the number the other day. I think it's less than $400,000. How do you support people? The agency responsible for people with physical disability, funding, less than 300,000, I think a little over $300,000. And you're talking about social services? No, we have no room for that. We don't provide for social services. People are left to fend for themselves. It is government responsibility to provide quality education for its people. It's part of the national obligation. It is government responsibility to ensure that healthcare institutions are operational. It is government responsibility to provide the supply of electricity because we do not have private entities. So in those services, like in the case of electricity, people are paying for the services. So you can refer to that as social services. Again, let me state, so social services are for the poor.
Okay, let me hold you there. Let me hold you there, Moses. George, let's get your version.
Look, I don't. I'm not here to debate on the issue. We're here to provide solution.
Mhm.
The reason why you see even 50,000 person to one doctor in Liberia is because the country has been closed over the years. No access. When there is access, those social services will be available to those places. You will see public services, utility, self-charge electricity. You will see water. You will see schools. You will see the reason why those people sit on those benches, on benches in those villages that people go in remote places. No accessibility for investors to even go there to invest. So the key to unlocking Liberia's development is road. And that's why some of us been ringing the bell of this particular yellow machines that go into the various counties to open the roads in those places. So when we suggest that the government was not smart enough to bring yellow machine, but we come on the radio and cry, say the hospitals in must access places that are access are overcrowded, 15 patients with one doctor. Then we're contradicting ourselves intellectually. I can't sit here and be looking at those kind of things, just talking one day emotionally and feel that it's over. All those places and you see Cairo, you see from here all the way to Nima. Why you see there? You see referral hospitals? Don't we see referral hospitals? Those places that no road, do you see referral hospitals there? Why do you think the government trying to put quota from Monrovia to Bapulu County? Even though the former government did assuming where they want to build referral hospital in Bapulu, but no road. How many people go there? Access is number one in reducing poverty, improving economic enhancement of the people, and carrying on infrastructure development.
So the question is that I ask the other people is that the challenges that the president made mention of, they are all perennial, challenges. They are all perennial problem. Ellen Johnson said, "If time we heard that we had time, 15,000 patients to one doctor. We heard that inadequate learning facilities. We heard that. Do you think we are on the right trajectory to addressing these?
To bring 300 some more pieces of yellow machines to open the country is the most perfect trajectory that we're on.
So,
1 minute, Moses.
Let him say what he wants to say.
All right, come in.
Yeah, look, I just want to say, look, the question you asked is a very salient question. And this is where, again, as a country, we have to go back to the drawing table and figure out our priorities. Where do they lie? If we have one medical doctor, hypothetically, to 1,500 patients, how can we improve that? How much are we investing into healthcare? How much are we investing into education? Because these are key areas for national development. And then we ask ourselves, how much are we paying our lawmakers? How much do we allocate to buy fleet of vehicle for the president and his vice president and EPS officers? Are we prioritizing? And let's take this at a family level. You can earn all the money. If you don't use the money wisely, you will always be broke. Your family will always struggle because your priorities are upside down. And that's the problem that we have. So what?
Okay,
Our
let me.
priorities are upside down.
Okay, let me hold you there. Yeah, George.
So I repeatedly I told Mr. Sunday it's very easy in Liberia to say things and done. And Liberians are very good at this. Once they are now at the helm, all the other people there, they don't know what they're doing. And this is insulting the intelligentsia of a group of intellectuals. And that's what you keep doing to the government. People in this government, they are intellect level far higher than most of us that sit on the radio even to talk. They are not stupid, they make decisions and they sit. Good number of them, you see them, yeah, they'll all be bad apples among the good apples. Because some people, they are bad, they're corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the general level, you see good number of them. And that's why, in fact, you see that those fees coming, everybody want to perform. Everybody want to see as group of people performing. All right?
But it's doing it the
You
wrong
will
way.
see some mistakes along the way
Okay.
because the way our country looks like. But I can't come here and say and try to condemn group of professional people and say this and that. Look, the number one thing before you spend these areas that we're talking about, they are recurrent cost-driven institutions. How do we raise the money to fund these institutions that the solution we're trying to fund? Expansion of the private sector. Everybody right here in the Monrovia here overcrowded. You think if River G, like the other time, last night I was saying River says, if River G has modern facilities, good roads going there, all those things. You know how many people from River G here in the Monrovia want to go back, to go home, to go work, to go live there, to spend the rest of their lives there? They will get decongested if we carry on reluctantly carry on infrastructure development, open the country so people can have access.
Okay, let's hold
that's
it.
the case.
Let's hold it because we have to transition quickly.
Yeah.
Yes,
So let
Edwin.
me just state here. I listened to my brother Moses Sunday trying to equate basic social services to what they do in the US. Every jurisdiction has its own way of understanding these things. In the US, yes, basic social services is taking care of the sick people and doing XYZ. In Liberia, in many parts of Africa, basic social services are those rights that citizens of the country expect from that government to be provided, which includes schools, which includes hospitals, because education is a right. Immediate primary to high school level is a right.
Secondary, yeah.
Secondary level. Medical is a right. Access to electricity is a right.
Wow.
That's why now they even have this thing on the UN where they call the Vision 2030.
2030, yeah.
Access to electricity is a right.
Okay.
So you do not say because the person who wrote the speech for the president did not know
Yeah,
what they
I'm
were
gonna
saying.
respond to that,
That's
yeah.
a different jurisdiction you're talking about. We're talking about Liberia. And this was the reason why the framework of the Constitution gave the authority to the legislature to create institutions
Okay, gentlemen,
that
let's
provide these rights to
let's
the people.
end
So
the
it becomes
discussion
a
there.
basic service.
I think we
for the people.
sufficiently spoke about. Yeah, Moses will have to transition quickly.
Yeah, let me just clarify something. What I want my brothers to understand, when you speak about social services, and that is universal, it's not only the United States. I'm speaking as someone who is in the business. Like the literal definition of the literal definition of social services. It's talking about what? State-funded services for the poor. I know education is a right. That's why government has to pay for that. Running healthcare is a right. But these services are not social services. I want us to be clear about that.
Okay. All right. Let's hold you. Let's hold you there, Moses. Let's hold you there. Let's hold you there. We have to transition. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat right on Pram FM 105.5. We are also streaming live on Pram FM Monrovia 105.5. And of course, we are also streaming live on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. That's the Nighttime Heat Facebook and YouTube channel. Gentlemen, let's try to take this video. You know, today I read indicted 7 former government officials, over some 1.8 million, hoping that we got it right, meant for ordinary business people. And of course, those indicted included former commerce minister and others. Let's try to listen to Aret Abbas. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on. Okay.
Whenever you are called upon. My name is Joseph Daniels. I'm the Public Relations Officer for Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval. This will be addressed.
I want to at this time welcome you to this all important press briefing. I want to say that we are so happy to have you here for the last, I think, 4 months since we had our last press conference. We have come here again for another important press briefing on the issue of investigations, the results, and all those that we have held liable for corruption offenses and corruption crime. I want to recognize the 2 full members, Mr. John Guidi and Susan Johnson, and also our press coordinator, who have arranged this all-important press conference. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I want to say welcome to the offices of AREP for this all-important press briefing. Over the past several months, specifically since November 5, 2025, AREP has not issued a report concerning indictments and investigation into theft of government of Liberia assets and acts of corruption. It should not be interpreted as ineffectiveness. Rather, it indicates our commitment to a thorough and systematic analysis of the facts and careful establishment of credible evidence regarding allegations of public access. At this time, our wishes to address certain misconceptions with respect to investigation into corruption and asset recovery with respect to ESC and assumptions. The culpability of defendants is determined by the width and credibility of the evidence and not speculation. In conducting its investigation, AREP has maintained meticulous, ensuring that all facts and evidence are accurate, tangible, and sufficient to establish a clear link between the accused and the crimes under investigation. I will show the public that it remains independent in all of these investigative processes and will not deviate from the principles of impartiality and due process. Furthermore, AREP emphasizes that its functions are not political in nature. It operates strictly within the legal mandate to ensure that all investigations are conducted with transparency and precision. AREP also reiterates that there will be no witch hunt. All individuals indicted, G. Dix, former Minister of Commerce and Industry, 2, Jidu J.N. Nuva, Financial Controller, Minister of Commerce and Industry, 3, Joseph Yundu Howell, former Senior Policy Advisor, Minister of Commerce and Industry, 4, Kevin Munger, President, National Rural Women Structure of Liberia, 5, Elizabeth Finna Samula, President, Liberian Marketing Association, LMA, 6, Josephine Henford Greens, former Secretary General, National Rural Women's structure of Liberia. And last, 7, Kemo Bobo, cashier, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Summary of the facts that led to this indictment. During the 2023 fiscal year, the government of Liberia appropriated $2 million United States under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for vulnerable small business support program intended to implement the Rural Women Empowerment Funds. Evidence showed that $1,819,469.43 was subsequently allotted and disbursed to the Ministry of Commerce for this purpose. These funds were deposited into the accounts at the Central Bank of Liberia and managed and controlled by the former Minister of Commerce, Mawen Dix, and other officials. The funds were intended to support rural women empowerment initiatives, including assistance to farmers, marketers, village savings, and loan groups, and small and medium-sized enterprise, SME, with the goal of improving the livelihood of Liberian entrepreneurs. However, investigation uncovered that the co-defendants, including Mawen Dix, Jedu Nuva, and others, diverted these funds from their intended purpose with criminal intent, thereby depriving the intended beneficiaries and diverting same to their personal benefit. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, all defendants were afforded due process. They were formally invited to participate in the investigation alongside their legal counsel and were granted their rights consistent with Article 20A of the 1986 Constitution, which states, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, security of the person, property, privilege, or any other right except as the outcome of a hearing judgment, consistent with the provision laid down in this Constitution in accordance with due process, unquote. I will reiterate that additional cases involving the conversion and the theft of public assets remain under active investigation. We assure the public and the press that no effort will be spared in uncovering the truth. All stolen, converted, or illegally transferred government of Liberia assets.
All right, so gentlemen, you listen to the Arrest boss there announcing the indictment of 7 former government officials, including the former Minister of Commerce, over some 1.8 million. Let's hear from you. Normally, when an indictment of this nature is announced, just read us through what happened.
Well, it means that the investigation has been completed by the investigating party. In this case, RS, maybe working in conjunction with LACC, and then they will definitely pass that to the relevant authority, the prosecution team, which of course will be headed by either the Solicitor General or the county attorney, and then they have the grand jury to be seated to come up with the indictment. However, even if the grand jury come up with such an indictment, it doesn't mean that the person accused is already guilty. Now, the evidence will have to be proven in court. So now it's going to be a whole lengthy legal process wherein the accused will be brought to court. And in many of these instances, because these are economic crimes, they are bailable under our laws. So that's why you don't see them remaining behind bars. Once they have the surety for bail, they will be on bail. They will accompany their lawyer. In the case of former Minister Samuel Tue and the rest of the guys. So evidence will have to be adduced against them because it is the state through arrest that is accusing them. So that burden is on the state to prove that they actually committed the crime that they are saying that they committed.
Okay.
So it's a whole long process.
Whole long process. Now, Dave, this is not the first case that Arrett has brought forth. I can remember there was a case involving Mary Bro and others who were thrown behind bars concerning some Saudi rights. Okay, fine. Arrett again bringing up this case.
Mary Bro, Comfort Sawyer,
and all those people were thrown behind bars and later released almost the same day or the next day. Dave, you think Arrett's on the right trajectory with this whole Arrett thing? You know, they started initially, there was this whole noise and all of that. They went for cases. They still have this case in court. Now they've picked up another case.
Well, I think the Arrett had from the initial stage, they had so many challenges, problems that almost made the entire, team unpopular with the Liberian people, maybe because of how they were proceeding at that time.
Mhm.
But now that they have changed the way they did it initially, and now they're proceeding, in my view, they're proceeding rightly. The only thing that is expected of them is, the lack of biases. They should be transparent. And it's not about because that has been the perception that because the officials of government work in the past regime, so that's why they've been pursued. And to dismiss or erase that kind of perception, Arrest has to be very, very fair, transparent in terms of handling these kind of sensitive cases, because people that you bring in, they are ex-officials who work in the past government. You have to erase the perception and minds of the people that they've been witch hunted. And the only way you can dismiss such perception is by being able to provide the convincing evidence or pieces of evidence that you bring forth. As I heard him say, the evidence or pieces of evidence they have enough weight, to be used to proceed to court. So, I mean, let's wait and see what happens. But as far as I'm concerned, Arrest is doing a good job. What they need to do is to be very transparent and fair and not twist the entire thing because they want to get at somebody. But I guess they're doing a good job and they want attention.
George, we heard initially Arrett had a case against Finda Bondo. That case is still pending. Another case against the Comfort Soil and Mary Bro, that case is still pending. Today we're hearing about cases of a case of indictment of 7 persons again. Arrett trying to get all those cases. You think that's the right way to proceed?
Yes, they're doing their job, but I think their cases may overwhelm the court. That's all, and it's their responsibility to do their job. It is the court's responsibility to, administer the trial. Yeah, so if the court is delaying, that's why it's inflated, because someone is indicted. They are in court, the file bond, they're actively working in the same government. My LC Omar Miracle. So those things confuse people, because I think Mr. Tagbe and Mr. Sandy said it, Mr. Famule said it, should not stop doing her job. It should be transparent. And one thing I heard from Arrett in this case is that the defendants were investigated in the presence of their lawyers. And, the evidence were gathered, and, probably was shown to their lawyers that these are why the people did this. So with that, I think it tend to ease some level of speculation and some doubt on the transparency of Arrett. But lots and lots of cases will come up, and others who argue that it should go way back to Madam Salif time or back then. I tend to side with them sometimes, but I said it's just when our law says statute of limitation, I think Senator Dillon tried to profile a bill that the statute of limitation should not be the 5 years. Someone commits crime and leaves the country after 5 years to come by. I don't know why
the president did propose that that bill has been passed.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, but laws are not retroactive.
No,
it
they're
means
not
I will not
retroactive.
go back.
No,
It will
not
start
go
from the beginning,
Yeah.
where to go forward. Because if our law was very bad, if you stole from government, let's say 2018, and from 2018 to 2023, you are not brought to court. Definitely, they say,
Yeah.
I mean,
The statute has
of
stored.
limitation.
The statute has stored, so therefore you cannot be
So
prosecuted.
now with the new law, if oil passport when the president sign it, IRA would never stop taking cases to court, because people, even in the current government, there are some people that are doing some things that they think that people not seeing. But at the end of the day, they will come up and they will go after them.
Now,
Yeah, so-
Moses, let's hear from you. You think it's a good start? Because this is my concern. This is a sector major profile cases that Aaron has brought forth. The one with Finda Bondo, up now we have not
Finda
heard.
fled. She's not in the
Oh,
country.
she's not in country. I call the rat.
The
Gracious Rat vehicle.
Yeah.
The vehicles, the case, the issue of Mirabro, and Mirabro is currently in the current administration. This another new case with the 7 former government officials piling off those cases. You think it's a good start? Don't you think the IRL is trying to overwhelm itself? Why can't you start a case, you complete it, and then you move forward?
Excellent question, Sobert. Look, the intent of President Boubacar and others who constituted the task force, the intent is very good. However, we're talking about since 2024. I don't remember any case that is task force has put forward. I've not heard, I've not read about it. You guys are in Liberia, maybe you know it better than I do, but I've not seen any success story.
The cases are in court.
All we hear about is multiplicity of charges. You file people to court, you accuse people. We're not getting no outcome. So we just piling up cases. Where are we headed? So, you ask a very salient question, and so let me say this quickly. The investigator itself, meaning the task force, the integrity of the task force itself is in question. Mountain Colley, Coffee, the guy who works at the NPA and others, they left the task force because what? They said funds were being used without reference to other members under questionable conditions, shady conditions. Then where's the moral standing of the task force? When your integrity is in question, then who are you to investigate Moses Sandy? I mean, the intent by the president is very good. I would like to see people held accountable, but I think there's a lot that needs to be done.
Okay, let's read that. Do you think we should be talking about the integrity of the task force now, Edwin, or what they are doing?
Whatsoever, I'm one person who strongly believe that the multiplicity of these integrity institutions are not going to do any good for Liberia. And there's a reason for this. We have the LACC. If we want to go after stolen assets, we can amend the LACC Act and give them the authority, rather than having a task force, like my brother George said, that going for cases here and there. Now, bear in mind that IRS does not prosecute. Their duty is only to bring the people, investigate them, and turn it over to the Ministry of Justice. So you have this litany of cases are just piling up in the hands of the Ministry of Justice that needs to be taken to court. At the end of the day, people start losing interest. Take for example the Samuel Tuer case. How many people do you hear even talking about it? It's gradually dying. So what I think we need to do, that the president has initiated earlier, was this issue of establishing an economic crimes court. If that court is established, that court only deals with economic crimes. So it means that anyone charged or indicted for economic crimes, they are heading to that court. Because, look, the judges are not going to suspend other matters because they want to hear the state case. No. The law say everybody equal before the law. So what are you from the government? What are you from Sony? Once it's time for your case to be heard, the judge is not going to suspend your case because there's a high-profile case to be heard. So we need to start pushing for the establishment of an exclusive court, and that authority is strictly in the hands of the legislature.
Okay, George, do you think we should still be dwelling on the integrity of the IRA, then looking at the positivities that come out of the IRA?
No, I don't think so, because I feel if there were anything serious as we think or we thought, that matter would have been dealt with by now. That warranted some action to be taken against people on that particular committee. So I wouldn't like to go back to it repeatedly, because I'll be telling the president, say, you don't know what you're doing. As people can say, bully me, I don't like to bully.
By keeping the IRA team in.
Yes. I think he has confidence in them. It is his constitutional right to maintain them. I don't think he will maintain them if all they have such character issues. Two, these cases will not stop coming. That's why Mr. Famule, when he talked about this economic crimes code, I agree. But IRA will not stop investigating. I think they're operating on executive orders.
Executive orders, yes.
So the lifespan of the executive orders
was 1 year.
1 year. And the maximum renewable. So during this year, how many cases are we investigating that report? Now to the person who appointed them. During this year, how many cases we investigated? How many cases we successfully took to court? Once you take a case to court, it's not your responsibility again. It's the responsibility of the Justice Ministry, the prosecutor, to go and follow up the case.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't stop the investigation. I don't agree with anyone that IRA should stop the investigation. I think they should go ahead. The only thing I wanted to do is to be transparent, to be fair, to be objective, to be peaceful and respectful in dealing with an accused person or persons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the Tagwa raised a very salient issue. When I posed a question to him initially, the perception that some former, people worked in the former government, let me just put it that way, is that we've been pursued, by this current administration. If you take a look at all of the cases Aaron has been bringing forth, they are all people from the previous. We have not seen Aaron to bring somebody in current administration to say, look, you've been held for this. And so do you think that perception, that perception would die naturally, especially when Aaron has not all brought anybody from the current administration? Let's hear from you.
Irrespective of how we see it, the country is still politically divided. People who are from the opposition, people who were in government before, they will strongly believe that they are the one who have been targeted by the current regime. And you cannot take that opinion away from them. It is their right to think the way they want to think. However, the issue of ARES, even the nomenclature is assets recovery. It means that you are sitting in a position, you acquire assets through fraudulent means that the state want to recover from you. So this team has that responsibility to go after that assets.
Only after people who served before, or even current people.
No, but now the current people who are there, if it's believed that they have acquired assets in the time that they are serving, 100% that actually they cannot account for how they acquire it. 100% sure once that information goes to IRS, they would definitely go after those individuals. Now, my only thing is that I think, like we are saying, right? They've keep doing that work, and again, they have to show a reason to the president to keep extending the executive order that they're working, because if you don't make any indictment from January to December, no case has gone to court, then there's no need for the president to keep extending the executive order, because once it is done, it becomes law. The state is under obligation to fund them. Now, however, I think one of the primary reasons for setting up ARES was to go after stolen assets, meaning monies and properties that has been acquired are in other states or are in other countries or so. How can we go after it? I have not seen for the past 2.5 years, almost going to 3 years, wherein ARES have said that, okay, Fambola was a minister, he bought a house in Ghana. We've been able to identify the house, so the government is going to acquire that property to either sell it and bring the proceeds to Liberia or do XYZ. Or Fambola had money, he stole XYZ money, and that money is in XYZ bank in Nigeria. So we can go after that money. And this is why I say, look, when you have these executive orders, right, and you keep repeating them and going, laying it out, sometimes, the whole zest in this thing starts to limit down. So if you can empower the LACC to have an assets recovery unit that start training young people into identifying cyber crimes, identifying, tracing these resources where they go, tracing these properties where they are, it becomes more sustainable for the state to even invest into it, because at the end of the day, it will yield result. At the end of President Boubacar tenure, if President Boubacar even stays for 12 years, the next person that can be now want to have the keep extending ARED, then what become of it? But ARED is a very important institution that needs to be legislated or be included within the mandate of the LACC.
Now, Moses, let's hear from you on this one. We'll short the transition. How do you think this perception that ARED is only going after people in the previous government, former officials? We haven't seen ARED to bring to book, people in the current government. How do we change this this perception that people do have, Moses?
Well, look, so I think it is a legitimate concern, because anyone looking from outside would say, why is it that only people from the we administration? And the role for the task force is not only to investigate people from the we administration. We're talking about having taken a closer look, but my assumption will be that the role of this task force is to probe into anything that stands out as unusual, meaning that if you came to office, you could not afford to pay $100 bed, $100 rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, and all of a sudden, now we see that you have 3 BMWs putting our homes all over the place. That raises a lot of concern, and this is something that the task force should also be investigating. So, in order to clear this doubt, I would say the work of the task force should be further expanded and begin to look at people who are currently serving in this administration. Whether we like it or not, there are some dishonest people in this administration as well. So to clear that doubt is to begin to look at the activities of these people.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's hold it there. The ARED story is a developing story. I know we'll talk about it again next week, because I'm sure at that time, either those who have been indicted will be filing a bond, or they'll be dragged to court, or all of that. Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add to what Mr. Fambola was saying. Look, we had a law. The reason why in the school, sometimes a communication issue, it's always good to speak to your people. That said, if, for example, you serve here after 5 years, maybe you did something that not correct. After 5 years, nobody went after you. And, you know, statute of limitation, this and that. I don't know how they explain that clear. But the truth is, the reason why most of the people that are being indicted are from the past administration because they are the immediate past administration. And they serve for 6 years. It's difficult for RF to indict somebody from 2018. And, you know, 2018. That's why I mentioned it, because the 5 years period
Okay.
at the time. So it's not that it shouldn't be seen as witch hunt. What should be seen is whether the person really committed a crime. Number one. Number two, current government, most of the time when most of them are somehow accused of corruption, they send them straight to the LACC. So the area will focus on the past. LACC mostly focus on the present. I think they collaborate to some extent. I don't really know that detail, but
okay, so let's leave it at that.
I agree with the family when he said we should have this asset recovery unit in the LACC.
Okay.
Very, very important point is strong.
All right, let's try to transition. You listen to the Nighttime Heat, rated on Pram FM 105.5. This program is being relayed, not relayed, but we're streaming live on Pram FM Monrovia 105.5, and also streaming live on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. Let's try. Today, the first sitting of the legislature was held. The House of Representatives, there was drama there today, and the communication, I think 2 major communications that had to do with Yeke Koluba were brought on the floor today. Let's take a look in the video.
That the first constituency
with the satisfaction
Cause any committee's report. Call the motion and go to a resolution. Yes. March 19, 2026, Honorable Rachel Agweku, Speaker of the Honorable House of Representatives, 55th Legislature, Capital Building, Capital Hill, Republic of Nigeria. Reference. Submission of a bill to amend Section 7.2 of the new National Defense Act of 2008.
All right, gentlemen, the noise. The story is that they let us, one from the police and another one from a member of the House of Representatives, Small Molba, who said that Yeke should be charged for is it treason? Yes. Those 2 communications were sent to committee to Rome, and the speaker ordered that the committee investigate within the 10 days and report to plenary. Now, gentlemen, we discussed this a few days ago, and one of our colleagues, Moses, insisted that the reason why the legislature has been called back is principally because of Yeke's expulsion. And some of us did default with Moses during the discussion. Now, today was our first sitting. And we understand from the executive mansion press statement, they were invited for the purpose of coming to deliberate for the printing of additional bank notes. So one would have thought that on the agenda, especially on their first sitting, on the agenda, the issue of the printing of the banknote should have taken priority. Instead, what people saw today was that the two communications for Yeket's expulsion did eclipse the printing of the banknotes. Dave, where are you on this?
Well, the first thing is that the lawmakers themselves had their own plan before even returning. They had their own plan to decide Yeket's fate before even President called them back. From the stories I follow, and coming back and discussing Yeket is their own plan. It doesn't mean that it's why the president called them back. If the president called them back, purposely they discuss the printing of money and other pertinent national issues. Besides the
no. Let's get this. Let's get this right. They didn't return on their own plan. They return because of the invite from the president.
Yeah, but
for the purpose, for the purpose of printing new banknotes and other national issues. So one would have expected today that the agenda would have carried on its top the issue of the printing, and not Yeke Koluba. So
that makes a lot of sense. Yes, of course. The president called them back to discuss the issue of printing money and other issues, and not about Yeke Koluba. That still stand on ground. That still stand on that ground. That the president did not call the lawmakers back to decide Yeke's removal. At the same time, the president does not dictate to the lawmakers, though he called them back for that purpose. But I don't think they had their own agenda. Aside the president's agenda that he called them for, they had their own agenda. They premeditated the action they took today. They are planning.
If if you think that agenda that you think that they had, for which they came back after the president had called them back, don't you think that it will send different signal, and that signal could be against the president? They say, look, we said it. The reason why the president asked them to come is because of Yeke. Don't you think it would have been better at Tabwe if they had started with the issue of the print of the banknote?
Somebody, I agree with you. They're supposed to prioritize what the president called them for. That's the argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I agree with you on that. The president called them back to discuss the issue of printing money, and not about removing Yeke. Well, at the same time, the president does not dictate to them that they are calling for that, calling for this. You shouldn't discuss.
Let me hold you there. Let me hold you there. And Edwin?
Well, so before we could even start the show, I heard Brother Moses Sandy beating his chest that he has been vindicated as he always do. But I don't think so. And the reason for that is that, like Taiwo said, the president does not write the agenda for the legislature. It is the speaker. This whole thing about Yeke has been lingering among the legislators themselves.
Let me hold you there.
I'm coming.
No, let me hold you there, Chief. Let me hold you there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
That the president does not write their agenda.
Of course.
But they came back on the invite of the president.
So that's a constitutional
If they
mandate.
if they started with the issue of Yeke, do you know the message it sends? That the president had called them back to remove Yeke.
So the message is sent, and the intent of what they're going to do, quote unquote, what they will deliberate on the issue of printing of the banknote and what other issues they were called for. At the end of the day, it speaks to the reason why the president called them for. The president said there are national issues that needs to be addressed. We need to talk about printing of banknote. We need to talk about whatever budget stuff that was spoken about in that press statement. However, like I said, the issue of Yeke has been discussed among them. we're told that Honorable Moluba communicated to the speaker and the leadership on this issue of Yeke Koluba.
No, I don't think you getting me.
I got you.
Edwin, no, you are not getting me.
You are looking
Edwin,
at the optics.
Edwin,
yes,
they were brought back. They were all on their
they were on their research.
They were brought back by the president.
I understand
One,
that.
for the purpose of deliberating for the printing of new
the optics.
Now coming, the second, yes, that one I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
The second is for the issue for the passage of the supplementary budget.
Mm-hmm.
The president didn't call them for Yeke.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you think it would have been better if they had started with the president's
when the president calls them,
yes, when the president's interest.
When the president calls them,
mm-hmm.
based on whatever agenda the president had, that does not stop them at any given point in time to deliberate any other issues that they want to deliberate on. And this is why when the matter came out today, it was sent to committee rooms. Because if it was just, look, let's watch the process.
Why do you think they couldn't just start with the issue of the passage of the supplementary budget and the issue of the printing of the banknotes and maybe disregard Yeke's issue?
Again, we are not within the legislature to know what hurdles they're having with those instruments that being before them. You're talking about instruments coming from the executive to the legislature. You're also talking about issues that is before the legislature of one of their members who was also present in plenary today, and they decided to bring that up front.
Okay, let me hold you there. Let me go to Moses and then I'll go to George. Today that's the format. Moses, let's hear from you. We know that the lawmakers were coming back. That's what we heard. That was the message from the executive mansion, the press statement. They were coming back for the printing of the new banknotes to deliberate that, and also for the passage of the supplementary budget. But to our utmost surprise, Yeke issue became a priority today, that they had to read the communication and send communication to committee to Rome. What do you think that could be the optics there, Moses?
Look, so this is laughable. And and I like the way my colleagues try to walk by their statements. When I predicted that the situation on Yeke would have topped the agenda, they were screaming all over the place. Oh, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
And let's be rational here. We're talking about reconvening the legislature. Over $6 million of the taxpayers' money being put into that. And somebody is telling me
$6 million.
Where you took that figure
that the president submitted a request to the legislature, hey, let's reconvene and talk about this critical national issue. The printing of the banknote, the other critical issue, the situation with the budget and all of that. And somebody leaves all of those things, get discussed in passing. You want to tell me as the speaker that could not be agenda item number one? And somebody says, oh, they have a case with one of their own. The president spent over $6 million. And you put Yeke situation at the top of your agenda? Are you not proving the detractors? Are you not proving the critics of the administration? People such as me right? Are you not proving us right? This is not debatable.
Okay, let's go there. George.
Someone please correct him here.
You're coming. George, let's hear from you quickly.
Nobody
let's get your version.
So I'm shocked. Thank God you made me in the last tonight. Mr. Sandy stopped misusing the airwave. I call it misuse because to just throw a figure up like this, that the president get to put $6 million to come. Even if the president gave 15,000 to each lawmaker for the time, will not reach $6 million. Even if he gave 20,000 to each lawmaker, will not reach $6 million. Stop this. Don't try to make us look ugly. I know you will say it's vindicated, but let us stop also attempting to twist the fight that the agenda items today, Yeke Koluba issue was not the first. They had communications from the president. They read the Maritime Act. They read the Central Bank. They read all those communications. When they read them, then of course they're not going to debate it. They're turning to committee rooms. That's the first thing they do. The last thing now was the speaker turned to the chief clerk and said, communication, committee report. No committee report. Communication from members. That's how the issue of Yeke came about. Mr. Sunday, you are not vindicated. Because as you are boasting, you are attempting to boast on the radio that no other general, Yeke Koluba, no, please. Please, there are 2 complaints against Yeke Koluba before the House. One from his colleague, one from the police director, raising state security issue. And you think you come here to tell the world, because people watching this on YouTube, that the president of the republic, who you don't want to respect, even to you can just levy any allegation against him, get to put 6 million. Do you have anything to prove? Yeah. Or you just want to talk to satisfy our desire or other people, your own personal audience desire? I asked you that question, really.
Moses, got any response?
Look, I like the question. Did not live in Liberia, but sources in the media, and I will make particular reference to Spoon Network. Whether we like it or not, Spoon is one of the biggest social media platforms. Spoon has reported on a consistent basis information about this government, and everything turned out to be true. Okay, Spoon reported that the reconvening of the lawmakers for this session will cost the Liberian government $6 million. Okay, again, let's do the rational thinking here. You reconvene. The president said reconvene. You reconvene. You
for 10 days,
to make a case that you then refer to as insignificant as part of the critical discussion.
Oh, no.
And even
he has just answered my question. I didn't want him.
Let me complete. Let me talk.
Complete. What were you talking
to? George, you were speaking. Let me finish. So
I asked you a question. You answered my question really.
So, George, what I'm saying here is that you guys previously stated that the situation of Yeke Koluba is insignificant. You said that last week. You said it was insignificant, and I said no. It wasn't insignificant. It was one of the driving forces. I did not say it is the only. I said it was one of the driving forces behind the reconvening of the legislature, and you were in denial.
Look at that.
Today, that became one of the top agenda items. The situation was forwarded to the Committee on Rules and Order with an ultimatum to report to plenary within, within the period of 10 days.
Okay, that's what
you know what will bring Mr. Sandy to his knees? Mm-hmm. Let's start cutting some of these our show. When somebody says so, you bring them back. Because I don't know how Mr. Sandy was already managing the media, because he misquotes people too much in better ways opinion. The Spoon Network that he said got no credibility because Stanton holds it. That's a credible media institution today you are quoting. Your voice is here. Oh, Spoon is not credible. That today now they are credible because they're talking negative things against the government. Saying the government say this. Look, Mr. Sandy.
You know, and what surprises me.
Yeah, this show, I didn't come here to play fun. I didn't come here to defend government when we see the wrong way talking with respect. No, please get chance. Don't be impulsive. Get chance. You were talking, I wanted to call you, say no. I asked you, took 10 minutes to answer the question. We were here, we all said, in fact, I said that on the show, I said, Yeke committed treason. And you hear you saying that I said was not important. I said the worst enemy of Liberia in this case, not the Guineans, that Yeke Koluba, who is a state actor, that went and said that land was for Guinea. Today, you were never brave to say that on the radio. I said it. Then you say, we say that. It was not a major thing. I said he should be expelled. He should be punished. So to come to the agenda and for you to come here to twist cleaning victory, everything you always say I'm vindicated. I hate to say you and somebody fighting over something, drop that arm. Here today, those agendas are read that are quoted here were read first before anything about committee room, before Yeke committee report, before Yeke issue could come. I'm sorry, maybe you felt that we're not following. So you say, oh, because Yeke business came out, so that was the only thing that why you tried to tell the Liberian people here. No.
Okay.
Say that
Let me hold you there. Dave, you wanted to come in before I
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
Sandy back.
You know, the first thing, I'm surprised that Moses is now saying Spoon is credible today. We have so many recordings here that Moses himself has spoken, you know, negatively about Spoon.
Condescendingly,
You know,
understand.
I mean, that Spoon is not credible today. Spoon is credible. That's a contradiction. Another thing is that you're talking about the president's agenda. The president called them for a specific agenda, but these guys have their own agenda parallel to the president's agenda. So if they decided to go by that, if the president doesn't have the authority to tell the house, oh, because I call you back, I'm restricting you to the particular thing that area should discuss. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. You're talking about, yeah, you are. You said because few guys walk away from the asset recovery, so you're not credible. Were the concerns they raised genuine? How genuine were they? Were they accompanied by, you know, pieces of evidence to have indicted the current team on the assets agenda? You know, so Moses, it's not a matter of just talking, but it's talking with facts.
Okay, let me hold you there. Yeah, Moses can come in now quickly. Moses?
So
Yeah.
So I'm
Moses
laughing
is there.
because I like the way my colleagues like to move the goalpost. Again, let me
He said we're moving
reiterate that.
goalposts again.
I like that.
I like the way they like to move the goalposts, you know. And whenever I say these things, I always beat them to the game. The records are there. I told them that the situation of Yeke Koluba was one of the fundamental reasons.
It's
And
always
I was
say you
proven
win it.
right. Whether they like it or not, the records have shown that. The committee was given 10 days. There's a committee on banking, Waste, Means, and Finance Committee. Today, when the decision regarding the printing of the bank notes, the speaker gave that committee
I thought you were not
a deadline as to when to report to plenary.
But he
Mr.
said,
George, this is for you.
no,
You were
if you
following.
say for me, if you say,
Let me repose the question to you because we're talking about urgency. These people had 10 days. That's what they were called for. They gave the committee on rule and order 10 days to report to plenary. The committee on Waste, Means, and Finance. The speaker gave that committee a deadline as to when to report.
every one of them
note.
report within the 10 days. All those committees report within the 10 days. So additionally, let me say this. Mr. Sandy, that was sometimes the last time when I said probably let me modify it. Probably when you were here, you forget about how the government here run. You're missing a lot of things. I think it's being carried away by the forces. We got two here, but I can clearly say to you tonight, your attempt to misinform the public that the issue of maritime act was not read as an agenda. That these issues were only
You're
Yeke Koluba.
misrepresenting the truth. George, you are misrepresenting the truth. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I asked you a simple question. You have not
Yeke
answered.
issue.
I asked you
You
a
said
question.
yesterday that Yeke issue the calling they sitting for. Yeke issue was brought before the leadership, before even the president could call. The leadership statement came from there that they were trying to even prepare to put it on official agenda.
Sober.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1 minute.
you-
George.
1 minute. 1 minute.
George,
Yeah,
my
Mr.
question
Sanders.
to you, this is my question to you again. The committee on rule and order was given 10 days to report. It means that the leadership of the House attach seriousness to the situation of Yeke Koloba.
Yes, that's already.
These people were reconvened to discuss the printing of banknote. The speaker gave the committee 10 days to report the
All
plenary.
of those committees,
Yes or no?
the whole agenda that was read, that I just stated here, all the committees were given under 10 days to report.
Okay.
That's not true.
So maybe you don't want to
Mr.
pay for
Sandy.
the extension.
All right, Sandy, just hold it down 1 minute.
Yes, let me just respond. I think Mr. Sandy is missing something, and basically, he's trying to put his own, intuitions into these things, and also trying to make it seem like he understands what's happening. Now, when the legislature meet, they have communication from the president. Those things are, in fact, they are the first on the agenda to be read on the floor by whoever is the clerk.
Chief clerk.
Yes, the chief clerk. After that, they go to leadership. Is there any communication from the leadership? Then they go to members. Now, it's a violation of the members, because mind you now, they are all equals in there. The speaker and the deputy speaker are just one among equals, because they are the one who elected him. So whatever concerns that come from a member is key and very important once it's go on our agenda to be read in plenary. The reason that Yeke issue became a whole different scenario rather than what the president had called him for, like I said earlier, because Yeke is a member and he was sitting there in parliament. So and the whole jittery, and then Yeke also has a block. So that became almost like the action point of the day. But it doesn't mean that they were called specifically or the most important thing. And the next thing that he tried to push now, there will be no way the speaker will give other committee 10 days to report, because whatever decision the lower house take will have to be communicated to the Senate. The two houses sit at the same time. So they have 10 days within the president communication to complete.
Okay, let me
educate. No. Let me educate you. Don't stop it there.
But Moses educated. Moses
is
aware of that.
Chief. I'm coming, Chief. Let me finish that, Chief. Let me finish. Bossman, I'm still in flight. Let me talk, please. You are talking as Sanaya. Listen, Kinde. The reason why they gave the committee 10 days to report on Mr. Koluba's issue, because Mr. Koluba's issue does not have to go to the Senate. It is within their purview. So they have 10 days sitting. Mr. Koluba's issue should be discussed within that 10 days for a final decision before they leave. Other issues from the president will go less than 10 days because they have to be communicated to the Senate for concurrence.
Okay. So, gentlemen, the final question around this Yeke stuff. Yes.
So let me just say this quickly.
I think you want to go back and forth.
I covered the legislature. So let me just provide this background information for almost 3 years.
Okay.
So, let me say this. It is true that there has to be concurrence between the both houses before any bill moves forward to the executive. If passed, I understand that. But I'm saying to you, the speaker gave the situation of Yeke Koloba 10 days for the guys to report to plenary. That same time would have been given to the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, say, hey, review this request from the executive, you do all your background work and report to plenary, the plenary of the House. I'm not talking about concurrence with the Senate.
So
the House has to complete its work.
Okay.
So one thing, Mr. Sandy, is missing. And when I said
we'll have to take a few calls quickly, gentlemen.
We said those people are given under 10 days. The committee are given under 10 days because the Senate waits. The Senate waits. The Senate is now waiting for Yeke Koluba's case, so you can take the longest time on it, Mr. Sandy. The communication from the president had to be worked on between the two horses within a 10 days. Yeke Koluba, the committee can come and say, based on what we observe, let's discuss it, put it on the floor during our next sitting.
Okay, finally.
It can happen with this, Mr. Sandy, with the president.
Finally, on the Yeke Koluba's story. Dave, let me ask you first. Do you think the removal of Yeke Koluba, we got about almost 12 minutes after 10, we should be taking a few calls. Do you think the removal of Yeke Koluba by his colleagues, the expulsion, is it going to be an easy ride for the leadership or for plenary? Do you see that?
No, quite frankly, it wouldn't be an easy ride. As somebody said, Yeke has his own followers. And I don't know what size of his followers, what's the size of his followers, but he has his own followers. So it wouldn't be an easy ride. It wouldn't be something like a white ballot to remove Yeke. To remove Yeke, actually, there'll be a stumbling block. But it depends on how many lawmakers will vote against or for Yeke. So actually, it'll be a highly
contested
situation at the legislature.
George,
Look, this vote, that resolution, once they put sign the resolution to 1049, it's not going to send all the it's not going to be the say yes. I ain't know this and that. So this thing, that resolution,
let's go.
you can expel a member through resolution to term. Okay, they just need your signature.
So you see, it'll be an easy ride.
Where if the people that the whole how to call it comb black holes together, as there were 45 and something, and 1 or 2 independent 3, 4, 5% I saw on the other side. I think you heard on the radio the other time one of them say if I dare will vote, it means that probably in fact before they can even go through the investigation to send that into committee room, probably they got a number.
They will have carried the signature.
Okay. So
do you see as an easy ride for them?
Well, in legislative politics, there's nothing called easy ride, And again, it depends from which side are you speaking. Like David Tagwe said, we all saw the speaker saga. In the dying minute, people change sides because basically there are members in there who also will look at the precedent being set to expel one of their members, irrespective of whatever he was involved in. But once you do it now,
and so they were happy to fight along.
So yes, so whatever you do, you're opening a route that people can easily now take.
It happened before, Chief.
I know.
Yeah, Bidefan, Senator Bidefan, Charles Taylor time.
It happened to Bidefan. It happened with the suspension of even Honorable Rufus Nouvel for almost 6 months or so.
Yeah.
But like I said, there could be other compromise again behind closed door to say, look, instead of us setting this precedent to expel Yeke, why don't we suspend him for 6 months? Why don't we suspend our salary for 1 year? So there will be a lot of negotiations back door.
Okay.
And this is why the speaker deemed it necessary to say at this point in time, since we have 10 days and there are these complaints against Honorable Yeke Koluba, meet in committee room, sit with all of the parties and see what the grievances are. So if we can take a decision now before we leave, or if we have to extend it to when we come back.
Moses, do you think it's going to be an easy ride for the leadership of the House or the plenary to get Yeke out?
Absolutely. The House of Representatives is compromised. And let me provide this little bit of information from my brother George. He says that the 249 votes needed to remove Yeke Koluba can be obtained by means of resolution. That's incorrect. That's not true. Article 38 of the Liberian Constitution says you must have what? 2/3 votes. It doesn't say resolution. What if someone signed for Moses Sandy? Are you going to use that against Moses Sandy? And Mr. Kennedy, I was in the Liberian Senate covering as a legislative reporter when the late Bidefan was expelled. The votes were taken in person. There was nothing called resolution. So the guys will have to vote to expel Yeke Koluba. That's how it works.
Okay. Let's try to take a few calls, gentlemen. I think we've spoken already. 077-8460-793 Again, 0778 460 793 or 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507. That's the numbers to call. And you're going to be live on the nighttime heat tonight, 0778 460 793 or 0886 050507. We've been talking about the president's cabinet meeting today. We spoke about that, the issue of Arab inducting 7 former government officials. We spoke about that, the issue of Yeke Kolba as well, his letter coming on the floor and being sent to committee's room for discussion and subsequent expulsion. We talked about that as well. So what is your take tonight on the program? Let's hear you. 0778 460 793. Again, 0778 460 793 or 0886 050507 or the alternative line for a few minutes, 0776 540 987. The alternative line, 0776 540 987. That's the alternative line. Or the studio line, 0778 460 793. Again, 0778 460 793. That's the number to call, or 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507 or 0778 460 793. 0778 460 793. That's the numbers to call and to live. Gentlemen, while we are awaiting calls, let's not show blind eyes to this. I come. Yes, why?
That Mr. Sunday, as I said, he's forgetting. He's forgetting about our law. Okay, Article 38 is clear. They didn't talk about voting to expel, to vote on the floor.
Mhm.
Okay, Article 38 is telling us that each house shall adopt its own rules of procedures, enforce orders, and with the concurrence of 2/3 of the entire membership.
Okay, let's take this call quickly, gentlemen. Yes, good evening.
Thank you, Saba. Let me say good evening to you. Good evening to the panelists on the panel. There is William Corey, a journalist conversation, especially as a member of the Unity Party Intellectual Bureau. And so that I appreciate all of you. Look, the issue about Yeke suspension or instruction, for me, as a the lawmaker who want to protect and defend our country. Look, some of the flag of our people, look, where is the oath that this lawmaker Yeke Kolba took to protect and defend our country? Look at the word flag. It's a pledge allegiance to the flag of Liberia and to the republic for which it stands. Then Yeke will say that particular pledge of the flag, and then come and people, our land belongs to Guinea. You allow with Guinea to, because what Guinea did was the declaration of war on Liberia. So any citizen of this country, you put or you support the actions of Guinea, it means you can be charged with treason. You are allowed with a foreigner to war on the state. Look, recently, I was just reading the Secretary of State in the U.S. have just deported the sister of the former Iran or the former Iran rebel leader, right? The sister, which she said America is the land of Satan. I want she used. She and her entire family were deported from America.
Okay.
So why don't Liberia do the same to our own citizens? You want to sell our country to another country? That's crazy. So I believe the action that the lawmaker taking, I support them 100%.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, 0778 460 793 or 0886 050507. Again, 0778 460 793 or 0886 050507. That's the numbers to call, and you are live. Gentlemen, let's not. This story came up yesterday. I want us to talk about it quickly before we can go. While we waiting course, let's listen to this. Mr. George Kennedy and Edwin Famule. This story. The Deputy Inspector General of Police for Manpower Development and Training, Honorable Sadadu Elam Reeves, has rejected a list of senior officers from the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency who were nominated to undergo senior management training at the Police Training Academy. According to reports, following a thorough assessment of the submitted list, it was discovered that the officers did not meet the required criteria to participate in the senior management course. Gentlemen, this is troubling for senior managers of the DEA sent to the Police Training Academy and were rejected on grounds that they didn't meet the criteria. Senior managers, not lower, senior managers, that way. For a few minutes quickly, for 5 minutes.
Talk about criteria. I mean, every institution has a benchmark set in terms of how they call it, admission. And so I believe that the Labrador National Police Academy has its own criteria set that one has to meet before being admitted there for training.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the authorities they are concerned, the list that was sent from the DA, those who on that list did not meet the criteria of the Police Training Academy, because had they met the requirement or the criteria, they would have been admitted there, because they didn't meet the criteria, not because they came from the DA or the part of government or the part of the.
But why would it be senior officials or senior officers and they don't meet that requirement for training?
Yeah, so
it's troubling.
So that's an embarrassing part of it. Senior managers to be turned down because they didn't meet the criteria. And another thing is because of the DA authorities must have not known the criteria that the Police Training Academy must have set.
Are you saying that when they have sent people there before? Let me leave you, Tabwa, and because we have some limited time. Edwin.
Well, so the security sector itself has its own different categories of people. Those senior managers that were sent, are they security personnel or are they civilian staffs? Now you're talking about the DEA. Yes, everybody in the DEA are not all security personnel. They are civilian staffs. So until we can get a full details as to what were the training that these individuals were being sent for, it's difficult to detect why they were rejected. You know, maybe the new administration at the DEA believes that everybody who works there now should have some kind of security knowledge or training.
The point is, the DEA, I mean, refer to them as senior managers, senior security personnel.
Yeah,
sent to Police Academy for further training, and then rejected.
You could have senior managers in the DEA who are not security personnel; they are civilian managers. And if they cannot meet the criteria set by the national police, definitely they will be rejected.
But you think the leadership wouldn't know the training that they were going for and wouldn't know the criteria?
Well, again, because the current leadership of the DEA are all members from the national.
You start
police.
making excuses for them and come, let's hear from you. Diago from the police. Diago from the police.
Yeah,
they don't know the
Mr.
requirements.
Biago,
Yeah,
Mr.
let's hear.
Biago,
He's came from the police.
Officer Biago is from the police. It doesn't mean that the rest of the team appointed by the president they are security officers.
No, but Diago should know exactly.
Yeah. So probably let me, if I'm to play the devil advocate, was to expose these people. Probably you hold in a position, you want others to say you know, but really you don't have a background. So like go for
your training.
pressure. Yeah.
So at the end,
Kadiatu, I really want
Reeves
I really
rejected
want
them.
to praise her because for maintaining the standard of the LNP.
And I just
The twinning standard of the LNP. I read that story today. I felt and said, wow, this is good. Some people feel that disrespect. No, it's not disrespect. It's about maintaining the standard of credibility.
My concern is what is it? What is it? The criteria of making them senior.
Presidential appointee. President can look at me now or you and say the DA.
No, the question I'm asking, they are senior.
Yes.
They are senior officers. Then they send them to police for training. Senior employees. So let's hear from you, Moses. We have to go. Moses, let's hear from you.
I would say that honestly, I think the action by the deputy from the police, I see it as an attempt to shame and embarrass the LDA. I don't think that was necessary. That would have been handled behind the scene. Just talk to the leadership. Look, so many things happens that those things don't have to go public. You talk to the leadership, hey, we have done our own vetting. We determine that most of your people do not meet our expectation for the kind of training you want. This is what we're going to offer. You don't have to read a whole press release about that. Like shaming and embarrassing the LDA.
Okay, gentlemen, that's it. The final word, quickly, so we can take leave. Your final word. Let me just begin with you, Moses.
Yeah, my final word is that I think it was a great show. And let me say it again that I have prevailed, as always.
First person singular.
Okay. All right. Thank you. George, your party comment.
You get someone who love first person singular on the show. First law of nature.
Moses.
So self-preservation always.
Your party comment.
But I didn't hear him clap for himself. I didn't hear Moses clap for himself. But anyway, I want to tell Mr. Sandy tonight that Article 38, they say you can vote, but the resolution is the one that matters. The process is a resolution. That vote, when you sign the resolution, that simple majority vote, you are not going to, after you sign the resolution, they're not looking for two-third physical vote on the floor. That's not what the law says, as you're trying to portray here. No. The law says you should be two-third, through resolution, and the vote should be taken. So the resolution is the most important one, which I believe, if I all, and I'm saying it before somebody comes here tomorrow to say that what you are very emphatic. I said, if at all, the Richard Coons majority holds 45 numbers that he had, they hold. Some of the independents, like one of them, 2, 3 of them that talk the other time, the way we heard them, if they go that way, definitely.
Okay, let me leave that quickly.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think when we keep coming on this media or this medium and beating our chest that we prevailed, we're not being sincere to the conversation.
The message prevailed against you guys.
We have not come here to battle against each other. We come here to inform the people as to what is prevailing. We all have our own different understanding. We all will give our own different opinions. But I think these are good conversations for the betterment of our country. And that's one thing that I always want for us to always put check. Mr. Sandy sometimes to open allegations that are not good for the listening public.
Okay, we'll talk that behind the scene.
No, Chief.
No, we'll talk that behind the scene, please. Dave, we don't have time.
That he talks about.
We don't have time.
You need to debunk that because he had no iota of
we don't have time. We'll talk that behind the scene. Dave, your party.
It's a good conversation. All of us would come from different school of thoughts. We wouldn't tread the same line. Sometimes we'd agree to disagree. And that what makes the show interesting. And this is what I like for most of the remain on the show. I mean, to keep the heat on. Sometimes he takes a position, I mean, to pull our legs, but not necessarily that he has won or he has won.
Okay. Thank you, Tab. Well, let me just reference some of our viewers quickly, not all of them. Ross Dripper from the USA, she's been watching. Clara Kujumala, she's been watching. She didn't say from where. Siliki Trawari didn't say from where. David Lavala didn't say from where. Ambassador James Bill Critton didn't say from where. Vinicius Junior Bar from New Crouton, he's been watching. Emmanuel Bro from the USA, he's been watching. Alfred Fremont, they didn't say from where. Amos G. Carly, they didn't say from where. Ophelia George, been watching from home. And the rest of you, we can call the names. Until then, join us again when we return with another fascinating edition of the program. Until then, Saba George is my name.